She woke up drowning. Not in water, in memory. In a feeling so heavy and so real that she couldn't catch her breath. She sat up in bed with her hand pressed against her chest and her heart beating so fast she thought something was wrong with her body. But nothing was wrong. At least not in the physical sense. Something else was happening. Something deeper. Something that had been trying to reach her for months. The dreams had started small, flashes of images that didn't make sense, buildings made of white stone, towers so tall they seemed to touch the sky, water everywhere, crystal clear water that reflected light in ways she had never seen before. At first she thought they were just dreams, strange dreams but nothing more. But they kept coming, every night, sometimes multiple times a night, and they were getting stronger, more detailed, more real. She started waking up with knowledge she didn't have before, knowledge about things that didn't exist, about technology that seemed impossible, about a way of life that felt both ancient and advanced at the same time. Her husband thought she was stressed. Her friends thought she was working too hard. But she knew it was something else. She knew these weren't just dreams. They were memories. Memories from a life she had lived before. A life that had ended in disaster. She could feel it. The ending. It was always there in the background of every dream, like a storm approaching, like a countdown ticking, like the moment before a fall. She didn't know what to do with it. She tried ignoring it. She tried sleeping less. She tried sleeping more. Nothing worked. The memories kept pushing through, demanding to be seen, demanding to be remembered. One morning she woke up and said out loud to the empty room, "I need help." That afternoon she found herself searching online for answers. She typed in things like recurring dreams about ancient cities and memories that feel too real and past life regression therapy. She had never believed in past lives before. She had always thought it was just something people made up. But now she wasn't so sure. She found a therapist 2 towns over, a man named Dr. Raymond, who had been doing this work for over 30 years. His website said he specialized in accessing past life memories and helping people understand their soul's journey through time. She made an appointment. She didn't tell her husband. She didn't know how to explain it. How do you tell someone you think you lived before and that you remember the end of an entire civilization? The day of the appointment arrived. She drove to Dr. Raymond's office with her hands gripping the steering wheel too tight. She felt nervous, not because she was scared of what she might find, but because she was scared it might all be in her head. Dr. Raymond's office was quiet. The walls were painted a soft cream color. There were plants everywhere, green living things that made the space feel calm. He came out to meet her in the waiting room. He was older than she expected, maybe in his 70s. He had white hair and kind eyes, and a calm presence that immediately put her at ease. "Come on in," he said. She followed him into the therapy room. There was a comfortable chair that reclined, soft music playing in the background, a small table with water and tissues. "Tell me what brings you here," he said after they both sat down. She took a breath. "I've been having dreams, or memories. I don't know what to call them, but they feel real, more real than regular dreams. And they're always about the same place, a city, a beautiful city, but something terrible happens to it. I can feel it ending. I can feel myself there when it ends." Dr. Raymond nodded slowly. He didn't look surprised. He didn't look skeptical. He just listened. "How long has this been happening?" he asked. "Months, maybe 6 months. It started small, but now it's every night. I wake up and I can still feel it. The fear, the loss, the knowing that everything is about to be destroyed. Do you remember any specific details, names, locations, people?" She closed her eyes and tried to pull the images forward. "There's water everywhere. The city is surrounded by water. There are temples, huge temples made of white stone, and there are crystals, large crystals that seem to power everything. I don't understand how, but I know they're important. And there's a sense of pride, like the people there thought they were unstoppable. Like they thought they had figured out everything." Dr. Raymond leaned forward slightly. "Does the city have a name?" She hesitated. "I don't know, but it feels like an island, a big island, and I feel like it's somewhere that doesn't exist anymore. Are you open to exploring this through regression?" She nodded. "That's why I'm here." Dr. Raymond explained the process. He would guide her into a relaxed state. He would ask questions. She should answer with whatever came to mind without trying to analyze it or make sense of it. Just let it flow. She agreed. She leaned back in the chair. Dr. Raymond began speaking in a low, calm voice. He told her to close her eyes, to focus on her breathing, to let her body relax. She felt herself sinking into the chair. Her thoughts became softer, less urgent. Dr. Raymond's voice became the only thing she could hear. He guided her down a staircase in her mind, 10 steps, each one taking her deeper. By the time she reached the bottom, she felt like she was floating. Now, Dr. Raymond said, I want you to go back to the place you've been seeing in your dreams. Let yourself be there. Tell me what you see. She didn't have to search for it. The moment he said the words, she was there, fully, completely. I'm standing on a terrace, she said. Her voice sounded far away, even to herself. The floor is made of smooth white stone. There are pillars around me, tall pillars carved with symbols. I can see the ocean from here. It's so blue, bluer than any ocean I've seen in this life. What else do you notice? The air is warm. There's a breeze. I can smell flowers, something sweet, and I can hear water. Not ocean waves. Something else. Fountains, maybe. There are fountains everywhere in this city. Are you alone? No. There are others. People moving through the space. They're wearing light clothing, white and gold. Everyone looks healthy, strong. There's a feeling of wealth here, of abundance. What are you wearing? She looked down at herself in the memory. A long white dress. It's simple but beautiful. There's a gold cord around my waist, and I'm wearing sandals. My feet are bare, except for the sandals. Do you know who you are in this life? I'm a woman. I'm young, maybe in my 20s. I have long dark hair, and I'm important. Not like royalty, but important. I work in one of the temples. I'm a keeper. A keeper of what? Of the knowledge, of the records. I help maintain the information, the history, the teachings. Tell me about the city. What is it called? She listened to the knowing inside her. The name rose up without effort. Atlantis. This is Atlantis. Dr. Raymond didn't react. He just continued. What is your name? Amara. My name is Amara. Good Amara. Tell me about your life there. What do you do each day? I wake before the sun. I go to the temple, the main temple in the center of the city. It's enormous, the largest building I've ever seen. Inside there are rooms filled with scrolls and tablets and crystals that hold information. I spend my days reading and recording. We document everything, every discovery, every teaching, every piece of wisdom from the masters. Who are the masters? The elders, the ones who have achieved the highest level of understanding. They teach us about energy, about the connection between all things, about how to use the power of the earth and the stars. They're wise, so wise, and I'm honored to learn from them. What kind of power are they teaching you about? She paused. The information came slowly. It's hard to explain in words from this time. But we've learned how to harness energy, pure energy. We use crystals to store it and direct it. The crystals power everything in the city. The lights, the water systems, the healing chambers, everything runs on this energy. How do the crystals work? They're tuned to specific frequencies. Each crystal vibrates at a certain rate. When we align them correctly, they can pull energy from the earth and from the sun, and even from other dimensions. It sounds impossible, but it's real. I see it every day. Is everyone in Atlantis able to use this technology? No, only those who have been trained. Only those who understand the responsibility, because the power is immense. If used incorrectly, it can be dangerous. Tell me about the people. What is the society like? At first, it was beautiful. Everyone had enough. No one went hungry. No one was sick for long because we had healing technology. People spent their time learning and creating and growing. It was a golden age, at first. Yes, something has changed. Over the past few years, maybe longer, there's been a shift. What kind of shift? Pride, arrogance. Some of the leaders have started to believe we are gods, that we can control anything, that there are no limits to what we can do. They've stopped listening to the warnings. What warnings? The elders, the true masters. They've been saying, we're going too far, that we're using too much power, that we're disrupting the balance. But the leaders don't care. They want more. More power, more control, more everything. How do you feel about this? Afraid. I'm afraid I can feel something building. Something wrong. The energy in the city feels unstable. The crystals are being pushed too hard, and the people are becoming divided. Some want to stop. Some want to keep going. There are arguments, tension. It feels like we're standing on the edge of something terrible. Move forward in time. Dr. Raymond's voice was gentle. Go to an important day. A day when something significant happens. The scene shifted in her mind. She was no longer on the terrace. She was inside the temple, in one of the deep inner chambers where only the keepers were allowed. I'm in the crystal chamber, she said. This is where the main power source is kept. It's a massive crystal, taller than 3 men. It glows with light. Bright light that pulses. I'm here with the other keepers. We've been called for an emergency meeting. What's the emergency? The leaders have decided to conduct an experiment. A massive one. They want to pull more energy than we've ever attempted before. They think it will give us unlimited power. They think it will make us invincible. What do you think? I think it's madness. The crystal is already unstable. I can see it. The way it pulses isn't steady anymore. It's erratic, and the masters have warned against this. They've said the earth cannot handle this level of extraction, but the leaders won't listen. What happens next? We argue. The head keeper, an old man named Theron, tries to reason with the leaders. He tells them this will end in disaster. But they laugh at him. They say he's old and afraid of progress. They say we've come too far to stop now. Can you stop them? No, we have no power over them. They control the military. They control the government. We're just keepers of knowledge. We have no authority. Move forward again, to the day it happens. She felt her entire body tense. Even in the relaxed state of regression, she felt the fear rising. No, I don't want to go there. I know it's difficult, Dr. Raymond said, but you need to see it. You need to remember, so you can release it. She took a breath. The scene shifted again. It's the day of the experiment. The whole city has been told to stay in their homes, but I'm in the temple. All the keepers are here. We've been ordered to monitor the process, to record what happens. What time of day is it? Midday. The sun is high. It's hot. The air feels heavy, like a storm is coming. What are the leaders doing? They're in the crystal chamber. They've brought in more crystals, smaller ones. They've arranged them in a pattern around the main crystal. They're preparing to activate the sequence, and you're watching. Yes, we're in the observation room above. We can see everything through a viewing panel. Theron is beside me. His hands are shaking. He knows what's going to happen. What does happen? The leaders begin. They start chanting. It's a frequency chant, one that activates the crystals. The smaller crystals begin to glow. Then the main crystal responds. It starts pulsing faster, brighter. The light is almost blinding. Keep going. The energy builds. I can feel it in my chest, in my bones. It's too much. Way too much. Theron grabs my arm. He whispers that we need to leave, that we need to get out of the temple. But it's too late. What happens? The main crystal cracks. A sound like thunder fills the chamber. The leaders don't stop. They keep chanting. They think they can control it, but they can't. The crack spreads. The crystal splits. And then, the energy releases. Her voice broke. The explosion was instant, a blast of pure energy that tore through the temple. I saw the leaders disintegrate, just gone, turned to ash in a second. The walls shattered. The floor buckled. Where are you? Running. We're all running. Theron is pulling me. We make it out of the chamber, but the whole temple is collapsing. Stone falling everywhere. People screaming. Do you make it out of the temple? Yes. Barely. We burst through the main doors and into the open air. But what I see outside is worse. What do you see? The city is shaking. The ground is moving like waves. Buildings are crumbling. People are running in every direction. And then, I look toward the ocean. What's happening to the ocean? It's pulling back. The water is being sucked away from the shore. I've never seen anything like it. The ocean floor is exposed. And I know what's coming. I know what happens when the ocean pulls back like that. What's coming? A wave. A massive wave. Taller than the tallest building. I can see it forming in the distance. A wall of water rising up. What do you do? There's nothing to do. Nowhere to run. The island is sinking. The ground beneath us is breaking apart. I can feel it dropping. The whole island is going down. Where's Theron? He's beside me. He takes my hand. He tells me not to be afraid. He tells me this is the end of this cycle, but not the end of everything. He tells me we'll meet again. And then, the wave hits. The water crashes over us. It's cold and powerful and unstoppable. I try to hold my breath, but the force is too strong. I'm pulled under, tumbling. I can't tell which way is up. My lungs burn. I need air, but there's only water. What do you feel? Pain, but also peace. I know I'm dying. I know there's no way to survive this, and part of me is relieved that it's over, that the struggle is done. And then what? Darkness, cold, and then nothing. The room was quiet. She was crying, tears streaming down her face. Her hands were gripping the arms of the chair. Dr. Raymond spoke softly. You're safe now. You're here. In this time, in this body, that life is over. She opened her eyes. The office came back into focus. She was shaking. Dr. Raymond handed her tissues. Take your time. She wiped her face. It felt so real. Like I was there. Like I just lived through it. You did live through it. In another time. Another body. But it's over now. Why am I remembering this? Why now? Dr. Raymond leaned back in his chair. Often we remember past lives when there's a lesson we need to learn, or a pattern we need to break, or healing that needs to happen. Your soul has been carrying this memory, this trauma, and it's ready to release it. What was the lesson? That's for you to discover. But from what you described, it sounds like a lesson about balance, about the danger of pride and overreach, about what happens when we ignore warnings and push too far. She thought about that. In this life, I'm a scientist. I work in energy research. Dr. Raymond smiled. That's not a coincidence. You think I chose this field because of that past life. I think your soul is drawn to what it needs to heal or understand. Maybe in this life you're meant to approach energy work differently, with more respect, more caution, more awareness of the consequences. She sat with that thought. It made sense. She had always felt a strange fear around her work. A fear that if they pushed too hard or went too fast, something terrible would happen. Her colleagues thought she was too cautious, too careful. But now she understood why. She had seen what happened when you weren't careful. She had lived through the destruction. Over the next few weeks, the dreams stopped. Or rather, they changed. Instead of waking up drowning, she woke up with a sense of clarity, a sense of purpose. She started speaking up more at work. When her team wanted to rush through safety protocols, she insisted they slow down. When they wanted to skip steps, she made them go back. Some people were annoyed, but she didn't care. She knew what was at stake. She also started researching Atlantis. Not to prove it was real. She didn't need proof. She knew it was real. She had been there, but she wanted to understand more. She read ancient texts. She studied theories about lost civilizations. She found others who had similar memories. There were more people than she expected. People from all over the world who remembered Atlantis, who described the same white stone buildings, the same crystal technology, the same catastrophic ending. She connected with some of them online. They shared their stories, their memories, their feelings, and she realized she wasn't alone. She was part of a group, a soul group that had been there together. One woman she spoke with remembered being a healer in Atlantis. Another remembered being a builder. A man remembered being one of the leaders who had pushed for the experiment. He carried deep guilt about it. They all carried something, some wound or lesson or memory that had followed them into this life. The woman, the one who had been Amara, started writing about her experience, not for publication, just for herself. A way to process, a way to honor what she had lived through. She wrote about the beauty of Atlantis, the golden age when everything was balanced, when people lived in harmony with the earth and with each other, when technology and spirituality worked together instead of against each other. She wrote about the corruption, how slowly and subtly it happened, how people started believing they were above natural law, how they started thinking they could control everything. She wrote about the warnings that were ignored, the voices of reason that were silenced, the moment when it became too late to turn back. And she wrote about the ending, the terrible swift ending, the water, the darkness, the loss of everything. But she also wrote about what came after, about the knowing that death isn't the end, about the souls who survived and went on to other lives, about the lessons that were carried forward. She understood now why she was so afraid of imbalance in this life, why she was so careful with power, why she felt such a deep responsibility to do things right, because she had seen what happened when things went wrong. She had lived through the consequences, and she didn't want to repeat them. Her husband eventually asked her about the changes he saw in her. She told him everything, about the regression, about Atlantis, about the memories. He didn't know what to believe, but he could see that something had shifted in her, something deep and real, and he supported her, even if he didn't fully understand. She went back to see Dr. Raymond a few more times, not for more regression, just to talk, to make sense of it all. He told her that memories of Atlantis were common in his practice, that many souls who were there had incarnated again in this time period, this time of great technological advancement and potential danger. Why now? She asked. Why are so many of us here now? Because history repeats itself. We're at a similar point. We have incredible technology, incredible power, but we're also facing the same choices. Will we use this power wisely? Will we respect the balance? Or will we push too far and face the same destruction? So we're here to prevent it, or to help rebuild after, or to teach what we learned. Each soul has their own purpose. But yes, many of you are here because you remember, and that memory is important. The woman took that responsibility seriously. She started teaching, giving talks about ethical energy use, about the importance of balance, about listening to warnings before it's too late. Some people thought she was paranoid, some people thought she was wise, but she spoke her truth anyway, because she knew what was at stake. Years passed, the memories of Atlantis faded into the background of her daily life, but they never disappeared completely. They lived in her like an old scar, a reminder of where she had been, what she had lost, what she had learned. She thought about Theron sometimes, the old keeper who had held her hand at the end. She wondered if he was alive now, in this time, in another body. She wondered if they would meet again. She kept her heart open to that possibility, to the idea that the souls we love find us again, across time, across lives, across the great distances of death and rebirth. And she lived her life with the knowing that everything she did mattered, every choice, every action, every moment of speaking truth, even when it was uncomfortable, because civilizations rise and fall based on those choices, based on whether people listen to wisdom or ignore it, based on whether they respect power or abuse it. She had seen a civilization fall. She had been there when the waters rose and the islands sank. She had died with thousands of others who thought they were invincible, and she had come back, been given another chance, another life, another opportunity to do things differently. That was the gift, the lesson, the reason for remembering, not to live in fear of the past, but to bring its wisdom into the present, to use what she had learned to make better choices, to be a voice of caution in a world rushing toward the same cliff. She didn't know if it would be enough, if her voice or the voices of others like her would be heard, but she tried anyway, because that's what survivors do. They tell their stories, they share their warnings, they hope that someone will listen. And sometimes late at night, when the house was quiet and everyone else was asleep, she would close her eyes and let herself remember Atlantis in its glory. Before the fall, before the pride, before the end, she would remember the white temples and the clear water, the wisdom teachings and the crystal lights, the feeling of living in a society that had achieved something beautiful, and she would feel grateful. Grateful that she had been part of it, grateful that she remembered, grateful that she had been given the chance to carry those memories forward. Because nothing is ever truly lost. Not really. The buildings may crumble, the islands may sink, the civilizations may fall, but the souls continue. The lessons remain. The wisdom survives. And one day, maybe in another 1,000 years, maybe in another form, humanity will build something beautiful again, something balanced, something sustainable, something that honors both power and responsibility. And maybe, just maybe, the souls who remember Atlantis will be there, guiding, teaching, sharing what they learned from the greatest lesson of all, that no matter how advanced we become, we are still part of nature, still subject to natural law, still responsible for the consequences of our choices. The woman who saw the fall of a civilization lived the rest of her life with that truth in her heart. It ended that day. The golden age, the beautiful, impossible dream of Atlantis. But something else began, something quieter, something wiser, something that remembered. Subscribe to hear more stories from the space between lives.